everyone. Happy Monday morning. I am Carol Williams with Williams Immigration. We are a boutique immigration law firm that helps businesses as well as families navigate our U.S. immigration system. Happy Monday morning. We are back with another edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. So I want to start off with the House lawmakers. They've introduced a new bill that would be a path to citizenship for dreamers, but it is also for other folks that are not necessarily dreamers. So let's dig in for a little bit. It is called the American Dream and Promise Act of 2025. The goal is to create a full path to U.S. citizenship for dreamers, number one. And dreamers are individuals that were brought to the U.S. as children who were undocumented, and these kids had no say as to whether or not they were brought into the country. So those are our dreamers. Very few dreamers really are actual children anymore. They are still here. They are still living in a state of limbo and need a solution. So lawmakers out of the House have, we are looking at the American Dream and Promise Act of 2025. So not only does it target the dreamers, it also targets individuals that are here in temporary protected status and individuals that are here in the U.S. in deferred enforced departure. So essentially what the American Dream and Promise Act of 2025 is aiming to do is it would provide conditional permanent residency for 10 years for individuals in these three categories. It would protect them from deportation, which is crucial, and provides a clear path to citizenship. So I will watch this as it winds its way through the legislative process and keep you updated at some key points that I think would be helpful for you. But we do have legislation that has been introduced in the House to help our dreamers, our individuals in temporary protected status, and our deferred enforced departure individuals. So I will keep you informed of that, again, as it kind of winds its way through the legislative process. The next thing I want to talk about this morning is that the current White House administration essentially wants to implement a process that would require individuals that are here in the U.S. that are undocumented to register with the federal government. So this process essentially requires undocumented immigrants that are in the U.S. to affirmatively register their being here with the U.S. We have really kind of zero details as to how this would happen, what that registering mechanism would look like, and how it would be implemented. But this is something that has been stated. I will not actually be talking about everything that gets put on social media or, is sort of said in an interview. But, I will talk about those things that I think you should know about and that we have seen some iteration of before. Those kinds of things, but I'm not just going to talk about everything that happens and is put out there on social media because you guys would get so tired of hearing from me. But I do think this is important, and I think y'all should know about it, whether you are an employer or the employee. I think y'all should know about this potential registration. And this would not be the first time that we have seen registration mandated for folks that are here in the U.S. We saw it previously shortly after 9/11, which is another one of the reasons why I thought it would be helpful for y'all to know that this has been proposed and it's kind of floating out there, and I will definitely keep you updated on it. But as of right now, we don't have any sort of concrete or specifics on it. The next thing I want to talk about is the H-1B lottery. That's opens noon on this Friday, March 7th, and it extends and closes on noon Eastern Standard Time, March 24th. So truly, now is the time really to figure out if you want to enter someone into the lottery. whether they have the equivalent of a bachelor's degree, you want to know that. So now is really the time. We are approaching go time. So again, the H-1B lottery opens this Friday, March 7th at noon Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't found your password from the last year with your organizational account, now is the time. Now it's really past time to find that password. Or you can certainly create a new organizational account, your My USCIS organizational account. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the Trump administration moved to essentially ban the refugee program, wanted to stop the refugee program as well as federal aid that goes to organizations that help refugees. That was challenged in court. A federal judge has blocked this particular action by the president. So it's been blocked for now. I suspect the White House will continue forward with this. I don't think this court battle is certainly over. I will keep you updated on it, but as of right now, the federal judge has blocked the White House's move to end the refugee program. And the last thing I wanted to talk about this morning is we are moving from sort of one potential government shutdown to the next potential government shutdown. And so we're at the next potential government shutdown right now, which could be the middle of this month, right around March 14th, assuming that Congress can't get all the spending bills done. So if that happens, and I don't know if that's going to happen, quite honestly, but if it does, from an immigration perspective, you all should know that if the government shuts down, and if it shuts down for some length of time, immigration applications will get stuck. They will get stuck at various points. So if your case deals with the Department of Labor, so if you're filing H-1Bs and you need an LCA, I talk a lot about H-1Bs, that will stop, right? Because that will stop. Prevailing wage determination, processing those will stop, whether it is, no matter why you are requesting a prevailing wage from the Department of Labor, that process will also stop. If you are at the beginning stages of filing for your green card application and your perm application has been filed, processing of perms would stop. Department of Labor needs funds from Congress to run. So, if there's no funds, government is shut down, all those things from the Department of Labor perspective stop. Now, interestingly enough, USCIS is a fee-based agency. So the majority of the operating budget from USCIS actually comes from the fees that it collects, the filing fees. So many things within USCIS could, in fact, continue. Now, there are some things within USCIS that are not funded through congressional money. And so E-Verify and Conrad 30, just to name two of those things. So those areas within USCIS, I believe, also stop. But the processing of the applications doesn't necessarily stop, the processing of the other applications. And also with the Department of State, your passport processing is fee-based, and so that would most likely continue. But if you are in US, if you have an application filed with the USCIS, if that application is dependent upon a piece from Department of Labor, understand that your entire application process, depending on where you are in that processing cycle, may slow down and or stop if the government shuts down. This is all if the government shuts down. So it's a big if. I don't have anything in my crystal ball. My crystal ball these days is very murky and cloudy. But that's where we are if we have a government shutdown. So I thought it would be helpful for y'all to know what may or may not happen if the government shuts down with your immigration cases. So that's all I have this Monday morning. If you have any questions or you need help with an immigration case, feel free to reach out to our office. We're happy to get you a consultation and see how we can help you. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week.